All right. Anyway, welcome to the show. I don't know if I said this, but welcome to Fantasy Football Today, presented by BetMGM. Make it legendary. We'll give you our favorite waiver wire players right now. Jamey, who are the top 3 priorities on the waiver wire?
Oh boy, the top 3 priorities on the waiver wire would be Devin, Neal, would be Devin, Neal. I'll go with Neal.
What about Devin, Neal?
Brenton Strange. I'm trying to think. Devin, Neal, Brenton Strange, and Dalton Schultz.
Okay, Devin, Neal 3 times, Brenton Strange, and Dalton Schultz. Tight ends are typically, they've been good this year on the waiver wire. Dave, how about you?
Yeah, 4 of the 5 names Jamey said are in my top 3. Devin, Neal is number 1. Brenton Strange is in there as well. I'm still going to put Chris Rodriguez on the list. I know the matchup this week really stinks, but it's presumably a lead running back available on the waiver wire in 2/3 of CBS leagues. So that would be my top 3. Let's put Neal at the top, followed by Rodriguez, then Neal, then Strange, then Neal.
All right, so Devin, Neal is the prize this week. He actually was out carried by Taysom Hill. And
that's gross.
And not only that, Taysom Hill had 10 carries, Neal had 7. Taysom Hill had only 3 direct snaps, which is actually a lot, but it wasn't all direct snaps. He was just lining up legitimately as a running back. And he plays tight end.
Yeah.
Is he a better ad than Devin Neal? You're getting a running back and playing tight end. I don't know, but Neal had 5 catches for 43 yards. So
I knew you'd get to that. Yes.
A huge part there. And they're facing Miami, who for a moment it looked like maybe they had been better against running backs, but for the full season, they're horrible. 4.8.
No, they are better. They're definitely.
Well, it's also the Saints are horrible too. It's not like, like even if this was Kamara, had he played well last game and stayed healthy, then it would have been back-to-back strong games. You feel a little bit more encouraged about it, but it's still a Saints run offense that has been bad. The reason I think you look at Neal is what you said, the 5 catches, so he's going to be involved in the passing game, and hopefully that's something that can be constant, and then you tack on whatever he does as a rusher. So I still think we may see Audric Estime, who's, going to be probably now the number 2 running back, or 3rd if you want to throw Taysom Hill in there, but it is another good week of tight ends. It's just funny, like how we look at the waiver wire. Like there's guys that are available that could be starters for you right away, and 2 that I mentioned in Schultz and Strange and Schultz, and then you throw in Taysom Hill. There's just some good options that could potentially be flex plays as well.
And then I'll skip ahead to Jamey when we were talking off air yesterday. I don't know if it was on air or off air. You said there were 4 wide receivers who were basically right.
I think 5. Yeah.
5. Okay. So Yoshivas at Baltimore, Shimray DK against Jacksonville, Jaden Higgins at Indianapolis, John Mechie against Atlanta. How about this stat? Atlanta has allowed, this is not a huge number, but it's pretty good, 12.8 or more PPR fantasy points to 8 wide receivers in their last 5 games. And that's Waddle, Malik Washington, Alec Pierce, Tedero McMillan, Xavier Legette, Chris Olave. I left some out, but not exactly like the best wide receiver. So again, it's Yoshivas, DK, Jaden Higgins, John Mechie. Is there a 5th?
Yeah, Dortch. Just based on what he's done, assuming Harrison's out. So another favorable matchup, and I think a situation where, as long as Brissett continues to do what he's doing, which I don't think that's going to change, Dortch is going to get his targets and opportunities. And so with Harrison not being there, the last 2 games have been fantastic for him. It gets overshadowed because of what Michael Wilson's doing, understandably so. But, Dortch has been pretty solid the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and Dortch is a very similar matchup. Dortch is facing Tampa Bay. They've allowed 13.5 or more PPR fantasy points to a wide receiver in all but 1 game, 14 or more points to 8 wide receivers in their last 4 games. So they are really struggling. And you've got guys like Kyle Williams, Mac Hollins, Tyrell Shavers, Rashid Shaheed having big games against Tampa Bay. So we look at those 5 receivers.
Saints Rashid Shaheed. I don't know if Seahawks Rashid Shaheed could do it.
Probably not. Yoshivas, DK, Higgins, Mechie, and Dortch. That's Jamey's order. Dave, how do you feel about those guys?
I've got Mechie at the top. I think there's staying power with him rest of season. I think he looks good as a short and mostly short, but some intermediate routes in the Jets offense. I know Garrett Wilson will be back. When's that going to happen?
Week 15 if he's eligible.
Right, if he's healthy. And so we don't know. And he's played well, and I think he's still going to see some decent target volume moving forward. So I don't mind Mechie. I love what I've seen from Jaden Higgins, really have. So he would make my list as well. I've been on the DK train for a few weeks, and then I got off, and now after a big game, of course, the sense is to go back on it. So those would probably be my first 3 names on the list, would be Mechie, Higgins, and DK.
Keep an eye on Alec Iomanner's status. He missed the game. Obviously, Calvin Ridley's out. Chimray DK has played 80% or more of the snaps in 3 games this year, and he's come through with 16 or more. I forget.
He's had 2 games where he's had at least 7 targets, and those are the 2 games you're referencing.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 games. Now, one of those 3 games, he had 3 targets and he scored 1.5 fantasy points. So it's not like any of these guys are locks. But in 2 of the 3 games where DK's played 80% or more of the snaps, which is way more than in his other games, he's come through pretty good. There's
again, I think with the 5 guys and Dave putting Mechie at the top, I have no problem with that. Somebody putting Higgins at the top. If you want to just look Dortch for a 1-week situation, I have no problem with that. I think you just look at these 5 guys. There's pros and cons for all of them. And we don't know, T. Higgins got a pretty serious concussion from what it looked like. He can miss multiple weeks. And if you're talking about Yoshivas with Burrow for multiple weeks, like, sign me up for that too.
Here's the problem, right? So
I said, let me rephrase it. So he'll be with Burrow for multiple weeks. If there's no T. Higgins there, he's obviously not going anywhere.
Yeah, right. So Higgins was ruled out almost immediately with a concussion, which is pretty rare.
And he's already been ruled out for Thursday.
Exactly. All 5 of these guys, Jamey said 5 guys earlier, really got me pretty hungry. But all 5 of them, they have pretty bad matchups next week.
Yeah.
And there's no buys this week. But that's just something to keep in mind. Yoshivas is at Buffalo next week. DK is at Cleveland. Higgins is at Kansas City. Mechie's at home against Miami, who's 7th best against wide receivers. And Dortch has the Rams. But yeah, I mean, those are interesting wide receivers. So again, the priorities are Devin Neal, Brenton Strange, Dalton Schultz, Chris Rodriguez. And if you need one of those wide receivers, they might be able to come through for you here.
It's not a quarterback.
It's not bad. It's not a quarterback.
No.
Unless Brissett is still available. What is he, 70-something%? Wrong?
Yeah, there are some guys in that shallow league range that you can buy into for sure. But in the range that we typically talk about and what most of our 12-team leagues are looking at, like, Tua is the best one.